Hi, I'm just posting this video because I'm just so frustrated and appalled at some of the things I've seen lately. With the Black Lives Matter is important to me. It hasn't been in the forefront of my mind, I have to say. I've seen a lot about it, um, but basically, I've watched George Floyd and what happened to him. And then I'm watching this trial. So I've watched it every day. It's the last part was on Thursday, and they're going to continue on Monday. So in the meantime, I've been just so upset. I have to vent today. The reason being is because a few things I saw in the trial case really was really ludicrous to me. Number one, whenever the defense objects, the judge says sustained. When the prosecution objects, they say overruled. So it kind of looks to me a little bit, and I could be wrong, maybe I'm missing something, but it looks a little bit one-sided to me. So the prosecution has done a phenomenal job, in my opinion. It's only my opinion. All of this is only my opinion. They have presented proper witnesses, and the way they have testified. They have presented experts that are fantastic from a medical point of view. Being in the medical, I'm not a doctor. I was a radiation therapist, which we treated cancer with radiation, and then I studied MRI. So currently I'm in MRI, but I retired recently, and I just stay on casual. But the thing is I'm really still doing the medical, and I listen to those medical people, and they are awesome. They were all awesome. They all brought something to the table. Now, I'm not sure about the defense. That expert, medical expert, he said things that did not sit with me in the best way. I felt like he was just fudging it, and I felt that's just my opinion that he wasn't being completely honest. For example, he was trying to say that George Floyd could have died from the carbon monoxide. Now, first of all, he didn't even know that the car was on or if the car was off. Secondly, people who die from carbon monoxide poisoning are when you're locked up in a closed area and carbon monoxide has replaced the oxygen in that small area or in any area so that the person can't get any oxygen. And I don't really buy that. The other issue is, when you watch the video, it's not too hard to see how George Floyd died. It doesn't take an expert or a genius. Everybody who watches it knows. And we watched George Floyd die on that video. I'll tell you, first couple of times I watched it, I cried. I just couldn't believe that he died that way. It's so appalling. The other thing that really bothers me is that I don't even know how you can defend somebody in this case. I don't know that the other officers were not responsible because they did not get off of George Floyd. Even though they said to the officer, Mr. Chauvin, to come off of his neck, and he didn't. They really didn't push for it, and I think that I would have pushed for it. I've done CPR on a patient before, and you know when you need to do CPR. And when they said that Floyd he didn't have a pulse, it's automatic CPR. You don't even think about it. They were very slow to react, and even the EMS, they were very slow to react. I was surprised that they got there, they looked, and they didn't start CPR immediately. I think CPR should have been started immediately, and at least to ask how long has it been since the patient has had a pulse. Those kinds of questions. In any case, I was just appalled by the behavior of those policemen. So then I started to dig a little bit, and I looked up Floyd. I looked up him, and I saw that there were other young black people that died. And when I clicked on, what do you mean? The cops killed them? What? And most of them, a lot of them were for reasons it wasn't necessary. And I'm black, I'm part black. I was born in Jamaica, And I think that I can say that it's ridiculous, in my opinion, that you would treat somebody like that just because of the color of their skin. I don't care if you're yellow, orange, black, red, yellow, green. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's who you are as a person, and not the color of your skin that should dictate that how you should be treated. It's kind of absurd when you really, really think about it. And so it breaks my heart that people like police who have the authority, who have the power, use that power in the wrong way. I'm not saying all police do it. I'm just saying that there are some bad police out there, and they are not using their power in the correct way. I'm sure there are other ways to have somebody in custody in a proper way where the person is treated with some respect, and you can get them under control without killing them. So I think that killing is an extreme thing. Pulling a gun. Why is it that when you stop somebody on the street, the cops, and for a ticket or something very minor, and the person ends up dead? Like, what is going on here? And the fact that people end up in jail for things that are so minor, but yet they're hurt physically. Some of them die, and maybe some of them are injured. It's all wrong. And so when I watch George Floyd, I'm just livid. And then I'm sad, because if they let this cop off, what do I say? Right? What do I say? Because that video says it all. If someone says to you, I can't breathe, then that means they can't breathe. And there shouldn't be any assumption that the person is lying, because when you're breathing, you get into panic mode when you can't breathe. If you're drowning, you panic. You have to breathe. Your body, your brain kicks in. And the neck is the thinnest. We have so much going on in our neck. We have the carotids coming up that feed the brain. We breathe, we eat there. Everything is going on in there. We have our voice in there, our larynx. So how can you sit there and say it's okay to kneel on someone's neck? So I think that policy for the police should be right. As a medical person, I don't even think you should be on anybody's neck. Once you have that person on the ground and you have cuffs on them, you don't need to step on them and stand on them and basically kill them, is what you did. And so to me also, when I looked up that other little guy, Freddie Grey, I think his name is, well, it took me 2 days to get over that one, because I could not believe they dragged that boy to the ambulance or to that truck, and he couldn't walk. Now, so without being a medical person, isn't there some kind of common sense that maybe that boy had a problem? And when that little guy was asking for help and the medical team, why didn't the cops call and take that person immediately, take Freddie immediately to the hospital? So my thought is that police are not fully trained in those kinds of things. I think if it's not their jurisdiction, anything medical, it's not their jurisdiction, and therefore they should always contact proper authorities or proper people that can help them in those kinds of situations. But to leave it and let the person, totally be injured or end up dead like Floyd and like that little guy Freddie, wow. So anyways, I was mad. I had to vent, and that's my venting. And then on the other side, so I'm very sad, because I'm a mom. I have 5 children, ranging from 12 all the way up to 37. And I would be devastated if somebody treated my son or daughter like that because of the color of their skin. And the fact that that child died as a result of something very minor. I think Freddie had a knife that was it was legal. He could have it, and they killed him. Basically, they didn't care. They treated him like garbage. They treated George Floyd like garbage. And then to say, oh, it's because they're on drugs, or I'm not saying drugs are completely right. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I'm very boring. But I can tell you this. I still don't think that anybody has the right to take someone's life because of you think they had a knife, or you think they had a gun, or you think that they took some drugs in the last 2 hours. Well, everybody has a choice, right? People drink, people smoke, people do drugs. It's really your choice. If you're doing something illegal, I still don't think they should throw you on the ground, step on you, stomp on you until you're dead. So that's my venting for today. And I hope that justice is done for George Floyd. He really deserves it. My heart goes out to all the families, all the sisters and brothers, the parents. My heart goes out to you guys because honestly, I would be devastated, and I feel for you guys, and I pray that at some point you can find comfort, and I hope that justice is done and the cops who do these kinds of things need to be held accountable and responsible for their actions and their decisions. And the little Dante guy too. Oh my goodness, his poor mom. That cop, she said she made a mistake, but I think that your mistake caused a death. And I'm pretty adamant about that, even in being a medical person, an MRI tech. Things can happen. I've never had that happen to me where I made a mistake and wow, caused somebody's death. But I think that I would have to be responsible for my decision making and how I treat my patients, and how their test is run. It's my responsibility. And when I was a radiation therapist too, I mean, we are all about safety in the medical. We're very picky. I'm a very picky person. And I think it's important that cops be very picky people on how they handle people.